Someone had to invent the coin. It happened once, in one place, Western Turkey, about 26 centuries ago. How money got its shape, how the richest man alive lost everything, and what happened to his gold in our own lifetime. It all starts in one stream. And there is a catch. The Lydians did not invent money. They invented something else, and it mattered far more. There is also one small gold object left from this story. It was stolen twice, 2,600 years apart. I will come back to it. Lydia was a kingdom in western Anatolia. Its capital was Sardis, and the ruins are still there today, near Salili, in Manisa province. You can walk through them. A stream ran through the city, called the Pactolus, and its sand carried gold. Well, not exactly gold. What the Pactolus carried is called Electrum. It is gold and silver, mixed together by nature. Roughly 54% gold, 44% silver. Here is the problem. That ratio is not the same in every lump. One piece holds more gold, the next holds more silver, and they look identical. You are holding something shiny, and you do not know what it is worth. Neither does the person across from you. You can weigh it, but weight tells you nothing about what is inside. Every single trade becomes an argument. Around 2,600 years ago, under a king named Halys, Sardis fixed the weight of those lumps and struck a mark into them, a lion's head. The mark meant one thing. The king guarantees this weight and this purity. And it worked. This part gets told wrong constantly. The Lydians did not invent money. Money was already thousands of years old. In Mesopotamia, silver was paid by weight. Debts were written on clay tablets. People ran accounts with each other for years. All of that is money. What Lydia invented was the coin. And the difference matters. They took value and buried it inside a small object that moves from hand to hand. You no longer had to trust the person. You did not even have to trust the metal. You trusted the stamp. I think this is the sneakiest invention in human history. What got invented was not a piece of gold. It was portable trust. If that idea landed, subscribe. Every story on this channel starts like this. One small detail quietly rearranges the world. The king himself comes next. Croesus took the throne around 560 BC. He inherited a working system from his father, and then he split it in two. He dropped Electrum. Instead, he minted separate coins of pure gold and pure silver. That is the first bimetallic currency in the world. Big purchases in gold, daily life in silver. And this is not a legend. Excavations at Sardis uncovered workshops that separated gold from silver. There was an industrial refinery running inside the city. Croesus became the richest man on earth, and English still carries his name. We say rich as Croesus, and most people saying it have no idea they are naming a real king from a real place. Herodotus puts a scene here. A wise Athenian named Solon visits Sardis. Croesus walks him through the treasury and asks him the obvious question. Who is the happiest man you have ever seen? Solon names other people. The king was not expecting that. Solon's answer is this: call no man happy until he is dead. Now, whether that meeting really happened is disputed. The dates do not line up cleanly. But Herodotus did not put that scene there by accident. And by the end, you will see why. A new power was rising in the east, Persia. Croesus considered attacking, but first, he wanted advice. And what he does next is genuinely strange. He does not simply trust the oracles. He tests them first. He sends men to several different oracles and has all of them ask the same question on the same agreed day. What is the king doing right now? Only Delphi gets it right. That day, Croesus was boiling a tortoise and a lamb together in a bronze pot. That detail is the whole story in miniature, and it usually gets cut. Croesus is not a gullible man. He runs a test, he gets a result, and only then does he believe. He sends Delphi an enormous amount of gold. Then he asks the real question. The answer is one of the most famous sentences ever recorded. If you cross the river Halys, you will destroy a great empire. The Halys is the river we now call the Kızılırmak. Croesus read that as a promise of victory. He gathered his army and crossed. The first major battle settled nothing. Croesus went back to Sardis for the winter and sent part of his army home. The Persian king, Cyrus, did not wait for spring. He followed. From here on, nobody can confirm anything. Everything after this point has been argued over for 25 centuries. Sardis fell in 546 BC. The oracle was right. Croesus did destroy a great empire. It was his own. So what happened to him? We don't know. We genuinely don't know. Herodotus says Cyrus had him placed on a pyre, and that the god Apollo sent rain to put the fire out, and that Croesus went on to advise the king who defeated him. The poet Bacchylides, writing a generation before Herodotus, says Croesus climbed onto the pyre himself. Same event, two different stories. No neutral record from the time survives, and there is a bias built into this story. It usually gets served as a lesson. Rich man falls because he got arrogant, but that lesson belongs to Herodotus, not to history. Persia was expanding anyway. Put a different kingdom in Lydia's place, and the result probably looks the same. The 1960s. Near the town of Gura in Uşak province, 3 burial mounds were dug open illegally in 65, 66, and 68. Hundreds of Lydian objects came out of the ground and left the country. They ended up at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Turkey sued in 1987. After 6 years in court, the collection came home in 1993, and it went into the museum in Uşak. One of the finest pieces was a solid gold-winged seahorse brooch, 14 grams. That is the object I mentioned at the start. In 2006, inspectors arrived after a tip-off. The brooch in the case was a fake. The real one had been taken out, and a copy left in its place. The investigation led to the museum's own director. And this is what still stops me. That same man had spent years fighting to bring the collection back from America. The court convicted him of aggravated embezzlement and antiquities trafficking, 17.5 years. Why he did it, we don't know. The story people tell is that he was deep in debt and being leaned on. But the indictment doesn't say that, and neither does the verdict. What the court established was theft from his own museum, and nothing more. The brooch stayed missing for 7 years. It surfaced in Germany in 2012, and came back through Interpol. So here is the shape of it. This gold made a king the richest man alive, then swallowed him and his kingdom. 26 centuries later, it came out of the ground, got smuggled abroad, got won back in a courtroom, and was stolen again inside its own museum. Nobody keeps Croesus's gold for long. Remember Solon's line, "Call no man happy until he is dead." Croesus heard that standing in the middle of his own treasury, and he missed it. The brooch is in the Uşak Museum today, and the next time you're holding a coin, look at the stamp on it. That habit started in Sardis, 2,600 years ago.